And from finishing high school to starting businesses, our next guest just completed a world tour of entrepreneurship, visiting every continent to see how entrepreneurs are creating jobs, stimulating economies, and solving some very real on-the-ground problems. Jeff Hoffman was on the founding team of Priceline.com and Uber.com and is also co-founder of ColorJar and joins us now from Cleveland, Ohio. Jeff, thanks for joining us. Let's get straight into it. You are a serial entrepreneur. What was the biggest takeaway from your big world entrepreneurship tour?
You know, I have to tell you, the biggest takeaway was that a 19-year-old kid in Senegal is just as capable of launching a relevant startup today as a graduate of Stanford. And it didn't used to be that way. What's happened is online information. I literally was talking to a 19-year-old in Senegal, and I said to the kid, "Where did you learn all this stuff?" And he said, "Stanford." And I said, "You've never left this country?" And he said, "I can take free courses online." When he showed me his business, again, I was impressed. And I said, "Where did you learn this information?" And he said, "I watch TED videos all day long." So entrepreneurs all over the world have access to information that makes them just as capable as entrepreneurs anywhere else in the world now. It's really exciting.
So information and its availability playing a really big part in all of this. Are there any regions that you're seeing more of an increase in entrepreneurship than others? You say Senegal. Is Africa a burgeoning startup place now?
I think it absolutely is. I also just came back from conducting an entrepreneurship boot camp in East Africa. We had entrepreneurs from Uganda, from Mozambique, from Mauritius, from Tanzania, from Kenya. I was really impressed with the types of problems they're solving, real problems, creating real solutions that will be applicable all over the globe. So I'm very impressed with the business activity and the seeds of entrepreneurship in Africa. Although that's true all over the world, I was particularly impressed there.
So what kind of ventures, startups, or businesses are you seeing both in Africa and elsewhere? What are some of the major trends right now?
Well, you know, there's always going to be a lot of online businesses because of the low cost of capital to start. It doesn't take a lot to start an internet business. But I have to say, there's a lot when you get out of the US and all over the world, whether it's South America, Africa, or wherever. I'm seeing a lot more people attacking real-world daily problems that aren't the internet. I'll give you a quick example. There's an African company of young entrepreneurs that discovered that there are millions of deaf people in Africa. And if you're deaf in Africa with no hearing aid, you can't even go to school, let alone get a job. So they created a solution. The problem was not that they couldn't get hearing aids in Africa, but that they couldn't get batteries. They couldn't afford batteries, even if they had a hearing aid. So they created a solar-charged hearing aid that doesn't require batteries. It's charged, obviously, by the African sun, and it costs 1/10 of every other hearing aid on the market. They are solving a problem that has economic value and that makes the world a better place. Entrepreneurs like that are really important to ecosystems and economies.
A solar charged hearing aid, that sounds incredibly impressive. What is being done from a federal level to encourage this kind of innovation?
So you bring up a really good question, because that's the part that worries me the most. And like I said, I went to every single continent. In some parts of the world, I'll meet an entrepreneur who has a brilliant idea, and I'll say, "Why don't you build that?" And they'll tell me this: because if I fail, I go to prison. They have bankruptcy laws that if you bankrupt a company, you go to jail. There's a lot of places where governments need to step up and enable entrepreneurs to launch companies, which is a risk-taking venture. So in some places, I'll give you a positive example. In Malaysia, where we visited recently on an entrepreneurship tour, the Malaysian government created a startup fund. I think it's like $250 million US, where even if you couldn't qualify for a bank loan, and you can, as a startup entrepreneur, get seed money, the government is encouraging their entrepreneurs to try.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for that insight, Jeff Hoffman, one of the founding members of Priceline.com, Uber.com, and current co-founder of ColorJar. Thanks so much.